Women have no problem submitting in the office. Yes, sir, please, sir. Okay, sir, where should I touch? What should I do? What do you want? We submit in the marketplace. That's why it confuses me when we get home and we say, why should I? You submit to your boss. You submit to your manager, to your supervisor. Now the man who loves you, the man who trusts you among many in the world, you refuse? Isn't that the devil? Yeah? The devil is at work. The devil is at work in us. We need to recognize it and cast him out.
Christian women, get in here. I just hope you guys will understand. We cannot get to these women, especially what's more painful is these women, because this patriarchy uses these women to enforce and keep cementing their selfish and misogynistic ideologies. Now hear what she's saying, that women have no problem submitting to their bosses, submitting to their managers, their supervisors. They will say, yes, sir, there is it. But when it comes to marriage, they cannot submit. First of all, I want you to understand that the analogy that she's giving does not fit this scenario. You know why? First of all, the Bible standard of submission, Ephesians chapter 5. These people just start from 22, where Apostle Paul said, wife, submit to your husband. They leave Ephesians 5:21. The verse before it, though. You don't just pick a verse and isolate it to explanation. If you want to get a better contextual meaning, read few verses before it, read few verses after it. It gives you a better contextual meaning. Now, the verse 21 said, submitting yourself one to another. It means both of you are submitting to each other. Do you see why I say the foundation of these people when it comes to relationship issue is wrong? So as a Christian woman, whenever they're talking about these relationship issues, close your ear, shut your mind. Because what they are saying is, they are just regurgitating what these men have been saying. None of them have taken out time to personally go and research. I've said it before, I'm saying that if you truly want to understand the kind of submission used in Ephesians 5:21, search through my video. I've already made a proper explanation about it. So you will now understand that what the church have been preaching for centuries now is wrong. They've been misinterpreting Paul. Now look at the analogy that she gave, that women have no problem submitting to their bosses. I want you to come with me. Are you getting where I'm going to? They have no problem submitting to their bosses, their managers, their supervisors in the marketplace. But when it comes to marriage, now I want you to understand that in the workplace, me and the boss, we have no other agreement than for me to do what? Put in my skill or whatever I agreed that I could do that made them employ me or that made me employable. And at the end of the day, I'll be paid. My sole reason there at the end of the day is just for my salary or whatever benefit that come from it. Now you take that situation. Beside your boss, you don't live with your boss. You don't stay with your boss. It's just for a few hours in the day. Are you getting me? Now you take that scenario to explain marriage to these women and use it to say, why can't you submit to your husband? Now, does it mean that you are not eradicating that in marriage? Marriage should be like the way it is in our workplace. If you have worked before, you just go to work. Good morning, sir. Good morning, this. Good morning, that. You go straight to your work, whenever you feel like. Is it that what you are trying to explain that marriage should look like? There should be no companionship. There should be no dialogue. There should be no partnership. There should be no, I want to use the word relationship, connection. Are you seeing that when these people talk about marriage, their foundation is wrong? They keep on insinuating that this is the standard, but it is not. You cannot use the analogy of a person working for a boss to compare to marriage. My boss did not toast me. Boss working in an environment is more of me making use of my intellect than me being emotional. But when you come to marriage, that's the reason why these Christian and religious women are the ones that go into marital abuse the more. Because why? They try to make them buckle up their emotion, be strong, don't have emotions. So even when the man is doing something wrong, the emotion is supposed to react to what that wrong thing is doing. They will kill it in you. So you can't react to it. What do you mean that women have no problem submitting? I'm going to keep repeating this submission issue because the nonsense narrative that I've been upholding have been repeated. That's the reason why it became a norm. And I'll keep repeating it in my videos that relate to it. When Apostle Paul talked about submission, the New Testament was written in Greek. The Greek word used by Apostle Paul was hypotazo. Go search for it. Now, the submission meaning of hypotazo is different from the English meaning of submission that is being used, practiced by these pick-me women and patriarchal misogynistic men. The submission meaning of hypotazo, as used by Apostle Paul, talks about voluntary obedience, willful obedience, you choosing to cooperate in a relational order. But the English meaning of submission, as used today and practiced by these pick-me women and misogynistic men, talks about hierarchy. I'm more than you. I'm bigger than you. I senior you. I'm leading you. I'm this. Talks about control. Talks about coercing obedience, forceful obedience. The two is different. And now let's not forget that Paul also went further to say, as a man, love your wife as Christ loved the church. To the extent that he could lay his life. That is the standard of love that as a Christian man, you are supposed to be practicing to your Christian wife. The kind of love. Now, if you don't understand the kind of love that Christ has for church, maybe by preaching or by reading the Bible, go and get, I keep saying it, go get a movie that dramatizes the earthwork of Jesus Christ. It will give you a visual understanding of the kind of love that as a man, the standard of love that Apostle Paul said, as a man, you're supposed to be practicing to your wife. Now, let me give you a quick backstory that when Jesus was coming to the end of his earthwork and he was close to getting crucified, when you read the Bible, you will know that there was a time that because Jesus was partly human and partly divine, the human in him already realized the task ahead of him being crucified, beaten, battered, disgraced, everything. And there was a conflict in his head. Like, will I really do this? And he cried out to God. And what did he say at the end? Nevertheless, Father, let your will be done. At the end of the day, what did Jesus do? He submitted himself to be tortured, beaten, died just for the body of Christ. That is the kind of love that Apostle Paul said. Meaning, there is no way you can be practicing that standard of love and not be submitting to your wife. There is no way you'll be practicing the standard of love that Christ practiced and not submit to your wife. Christ submitted himself to be tortured. If he did not want to be tortured and beaten by those people, he wouldn't. All the time that he stayed on the cross, the Bible says, and he gave his life. All the time, that means he could have just decided to just die before those times, but he stayed. This was him submitting himself to the due course, submitting himself to what? To God's order. You cannot practice the kind of love that Christ had for the church and not be submitting as a man, and not be submitting to your wife as a man. The kind of love that Christ had for the church is a selfless love, sacrificial love. So when I don't know where these people, how will you be comparing a relationship, a working relationship to a married relationship? A married relationship where emotion is involved, sex is involved. You are staying with this person, so you know this person's weakness and strength. You know almost everything about the person. And you are comparing it to somebody that is working with a boss maybe 8 hours or 9 hours a day. You're using that analogy to give a perfect example of how marriage is supposed to be. You are saying that so women they don't find it as a problem submitting to their bosses, whom they just spend few hours a day, not much emotion attached, sometimes not even emotion. You're just there. You don't even have to like your boss to work for him. You're just there for the skill you can offer and the money he's going to give you or the benefit that comes from it. But when in marriage, I don't understand. Are you saying that in marriage there's nothing like love? Because love is largely emotional. Are you saying that there's nothing like emotions in marriage? Are you saying that these women should kill their emotions in marriage? That's the reason why these religious women are the ones that are easily abused in relationship in marriage. Because why? They teach them doctrines like this. Christian women, shift away from these toxic doctrines. Shift away from these dangerous doctrines that are after your life. Check how many women that have died due to abuse, and they keep regurgitating this nonsense, making God look like a wicked God that wants women to die, whereas it's neither a man or a woman. So why will you be subjugating one gender over the other?